Howdy, 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 guys. A good Monday to y'all. Welcome to Cliff Notes Live, episode number 90. 90 weeks in a row that we've been doing this. Some of y'all been out here all 90 weeks or started at week number 1. For all of y'all, thank you. Let me start off with that in mind with a big old SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love reality TV. And I especially love reality TV fans. I'm one. Y'all are ones. It's such a happy family. Well, I was going to say happy. Such a passionate family, right? I especially love all y'all guys who spend every Monday night with me. Thank you for that. I do appreciate it. Those of you who are watching live, those of you who are watching on replay as well, y'all are all welcome. Thanks for coming on board. Before we go any further, as I tend to do, just a quick reminder. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, if you haven't turned on notifications, if you haven't gone down there and hit that little thumbs up, you think they created thumbs up just for me or something. Please do so. It makes it that much easier, whether we're talking Monday night or my morning recaps that I do every single morning during the Big Brother season. You get all the notifications if you do that, and I always appreciate that as well. So with that being said, welcome to Big Brother. It was so cool meeting the guy, Don Woolman, who actually voices that out. His voice sounds pretty much the same way you hear on the TV. Not that different. Had a lot of fun. I didn't meet him till after the season wrapped, my season, and I actually saw him outside the studio and got to say hey, and it's kind of cool. All right, who all do we have out here before we start talking about all kinds of stuff inside the Big Brother house? Ma is angry. Hey, Ma. Looks like you're the very first one out here. Welcome, Ma. Thanks for everything you do. Marilyn Sutherland, Val G5. All right, Val, I don't recognize the username, so you may be new. Welcome aboard. Let me see if we got Paula Scar, Fred Benson, Angie Hung. Hey, Angie. Cindy Hire. Hey, Cindy. Jake, the horror movie geek. Welcome all. Heart of All Things Kennedy. Welcome aboard. Heart of All Things Kennedy. Mark Taylor, Kiki. Hey, Kiki. Michelle Moore. And let's see, keep on going here. Angie W. Dudley Lucky. I like that login name. That sounds like a friendly login name. Chaz. Howdy, Chaz. How are you? Joyce Grinstead. Friendshay Racano. I hope I pronounced that correctly, Friendshay. Seems like I may have. Lori Madsen. Amanda Lowe. Tommy Braskett. Lamb Living. Kate No. Bing Bong. Bing Bong. And let's see here. Lori Jean, Rose Griffin. Man, I got so many friends out here. So many y'all out here this evening. Rich Fleming, DW, Dog Mom. Hey, can't go right with the Dog Mom, right? Can't go right, can't go wrong. Dog Mom. And Carol Hamble and Jessica Welch, uniquely me. I think that's it. And Wyatt Bradford, if I didn't say Wyatt as well. Welcome to all y'all. And if I missed anyone, I'm sorry. I'm reading as quick as I can, but welcome to all of y'all. I assume most of y'all are Big Brother fans, right? What a crazy week it has been. I was so excited starting on Thursday with the eviction and then this big twist. We knew something wild was going on, double eviction and all of that. Such an exciting 24 hours, 36 hours. And then it all just kind of grinds to a halt as we lose some of the feeds, all the feeds in the backyard. Not a whole lot of clue about what's going on. Crazy couple of days here. A little quiet. Crazy little times here. All right, a few questions we got here. Joyce Greenstead. Love the twist. Don't like the feeds. Fair enough. I get it. And we're going to talk about that. And one of the questions I've got for y'all is, what would you do differently? If we did this twist, if the producers did this twist again, what would you do differently to make it a little bit better? Tommy Braskett saying, upset with the live feeds since 8 o'clock Saturday, no outside feeds. I know, and nothing against the 5 people that are inside the house. I like them. I have no issues with them, but they can't carry 24 hours of live feeds, those 5 people inside. No feeds on the outside. The inside, a little boring. I know what it was like. I remember when I was in the house when there were just 5 of us, Tommy and Nicole, myself, Holly and Mickey. To some degree, you had Holly and Mickey just hanging out in bed together, doing their thing. Nicole and I running around, trying to have some fun in the house. Tommy, a little bit isolated occasionally. it just makes for a quiet house. So yeah, I get it, but I feel like even us that week, we had more drama than these house guests have inside. And that's part of it. Let me say this before going further. I did see a few new names out here. I will talk about spoilers during this upcoming hour. So if you don't know what's been happening for the last couple of days, and I'm not talking about outside feeds because none of us know that, but I'm talking about nominations and things like that. There will be a few spoilers thrown out there. So just be warned. But, it's tough because even inside, there's not a lot of controversy. There's not a lot of arguing. People aren't blowing up. Jasmine is on the block, but she thinks Monty's going home. Monty is on the block, but he knows Jasmine's going home. Well, he hopes, right? Man, what a flip that would be. What a dramatic, big move if Michael and Brittany decided to get out Monty instead of Jasmine. I don't think I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think there's any way it's going to happen. But boy, that would catch some people off guard, wouldn't it? But yeah, because no one in the house thinks that they're the target to go home, we aren't even seeing desperation or people calling each other out or yelling, or it's just boring. They had a Mexican party last night, churros, canned margaritas, little party hats. I'm sure they thought the alcohol would make things a little more exciting. Not so much, right? So that's kind of the theme tonight that I wanted to talk about and get y'all's opinions, guys. I don't want it just to be me. I'm really curious to see what y'all think. First of all, what do y'all think's going on outside? There have been a few different rumors about what could have gone on outside. How do you fix that? How do you fix a twist? And maybe a little bit as well, what do you think's going to happen when these groups come back together? Because I just want to have some fun tonight. It's been so boring watching some of those feeds. I'm ready to let loose. I'm ready to throw out wild, crazy theories and see what y'all think with every bit of it. All right, TJ85 saying, "Hey TJ, should have been drawn by the pick should have been drawn by random like Vito." Yeah, I just think it was too. It followed too much of a script by letting the HOH picks. They could control too much of what was going on. A random draw would have been interesting. I've got mixed feelings about that because we watch that on Survivor when they do tribe merge or tribe swaps. And I always feel for the person that with absolutely zero strategy ends up getting put on a squad where they go home and they lose everything just because of the luck of the draw. But sometimes that happens. I almost wish, what if we'd done this? Instead of the HOH picking everyone on their team, what if the HOH picked the first person on their team? And then when it came time for that team to pick again, the person who had just been picked made their pick and so on. So everyone, until you get to the very end, everyone got to pick the next person on their squad. So you had a little bit more strategy even about, well, I may want to pick this person because they're the target, but they may pick someone that then is going to support them. And I feel like even that may have churned up the team just a little bit more than it actually did. But alas, they didn't ask me. And yeah, I do think the way the picks were made probably made it a little less exciting about what could have happened. It just worked out the way it did. And I know a lot of people are upset with Kyle and what he's done. You know, Kyle went to Terrence and spilled the beans about everything. Oh, he did to Alyssa too, but more important with Terrence since Terrence is HOH. A lot of people are upset about that, and I understand it. But he's doing what he needs to do to survive. And we've seen from the other side, they're already talking about throwing Kyle under the bus as soon as they come back together. So I think Kyle read the writing on the wall and is doing what he can to get the target flipped away from him. Now, next week, it may be right back on him, but at least this week, I think he's done a good job of potentially sending Joseph out the door by telling Terrence about all his, which I kind of hate. I mean, I think Joseph's been playing as great a game as anyone in that house, but maybe Joseph may be the one who pays the price this week more so than anyone else in that house for this twist. All right, Jessica Welch. Do you think Kyle hurt his game by revealing the leftovers? Was it only chance to save himself for the week? Yeah, so kind of just what I was getting to. Did it hurt his chances? Short term, no. I don't think it did at all. It may have saved him. I don't know if Terrence would have put Kyle and Alyssa together on the block, but he certainly was tight with Turner. And I can see how Kyle would think that Monty and Joseph and Terrence could have been a little close, or at least Terrence thinking they're close because he was part of the Bestie Festies. So I understand why Kyle felt like he was at risk if he didn't do something. I do absolutely think that Kyle or Alyssa, one or the other, would have been on the block up against Joseph if he hadn't told Terrence everything that was going on. And if that happens, now you suddenly have Joseph, who is a very charismatic person, a fantastic speaker, a very strategic player, who's maybe campaigning to save him and knock out Alyssa or knock out Kyle, which incredibly dangerous. So, yeah, I think short term Kyle did exactly what he needed to do. The problem is going to be he doesn't know, no one knows what's happening on the inside of the house. The inside of the house is going to get out Jasmine. They're protecting the leftovers. They're staying loyal to the leftovers. They're going to see everyone come back in, Joseph missing, and Kyle's going to catch all kinds of grief. They may turn on Kyle just because he's the first one to pull a shot on someone within the leftovers. Now, I know there's been talk about Kyle trying to blame it on Joseph, and I don't think it's going to work. I think that the blame is going to be placed on Kyle, and Kyle very well could pay the price. I think Kyle or Alyssa, which basically means Kyle. I shouldn't say that. It needs to win HOH. Alyssa may win something. I mean, anyone has a possibility depending on what the next HOH is. But I think Kyle needs to win this next one, or else he easily could find himself on the block. All right, Mark Taylor. Who is your bottom big brother of all 24 seasons? We'll talk about that. Are they still outside, or did they take them to a secret room? And Val G5 saying they should have put Direfest in the basement. All right, let's talk about all of those. First of all, my least favorite Big Brother players of all time. I'm not going to say because then I'm going to have 5 people that are mad at me. And I will say this. There are people that are considered, I don't know, villains. Is that the right word? That don't have a lot of respect in the game, such as Raven Walton. Raven got a lot of grief while she was in the house. And I could see Jasmine having a similar kind of, people joking a lot about their time in the Big Brother house and all that. But just because they're kind of, the butt of a lot of jokes, doesn't necessarily mean that they aren't, that they're in the bottom of my list in terms of people. Because I would rather see someone, even if they don't play the game well, even if they play the game horribly, I'd still rather see that than see someone who just doesn't bother playing the game at all. And so I'm not going to give out names because someone will come after me, and I just don't want to do it. I want to stay positive, right? But I will tell you this. The people that are probably my all-time low, bottom of the barrel Big Brother players are the ones who came in and didn't even try to make an impact in the game. Now, I'm not talking about someone who just got booted first. They would have played a great game. They didn't have a chance there. Now, I'm talking about the people that were just came into the house and they were pieces of furniture. They were more interested in becoming Instagram influencers or finding showmances or doing anything other than just playing the game itself. Those are the people that just drive me bonkers that I would not ever want to see back on the screen again. It's nothing personal. I want to see people playing the game when they go into Big Brother. I know how incredibly fortunate I was to get on that show. As many thousands of people that try out for it, for me to get the opportunity to go in that house and play the game, it's incredible. I criticize my moves or applaud them or whatever, but I was going to do whatever I thought it was going to take to win the game. I wasn't going to waste the opportunity to just be in there and have fun for a summer or anything else. And I feel like there's a few people that do that. So there you go on that. All right, the other questions. Do I think the backyard has been moved to a separate location? And that kind of gets this idea of wall yellers. We've all heard the rumors that there may have been a wall yeller or that production was worried about a wall yeller, right? How do you solve that? Well, could you move them somewhere? And someone said move them into the basement. I don't want to go into a whole lot of details, but there is a separate area where they do some of the challenges inside. Like when we did our Whacktivity contest during our season, the backyard wasn't available because they were getting set up for HOH and veto. So they had a separate area indoors where we did that competition. Could you move the people into that? Yeah, maybe. But from a filming standpoint and everything else, that may have not been so easy to do. I was wondering if something like that maybe had happened though, since we weren't getting the feeds at all. The only reason it makes me think probably not is because last night, I don't know, 11:30 or so, Big Brother time, we had just the tiniest little flash of feed. In fact, right here behind me is the screenshot. We had just for a split second, you can see Kyle right here. Why? And there's Alyssa right there sleeping, and Kyle's heading over towards her, and so we got to see a split second of them in the backyard, which makes me think that they're still there, right? Now, I don't. Why are the feeds off? The rumor, and my guess more than anything else is that it may have to do with the wall yeller. I've heard talk, and the inside house guests have been saying they've been hearing a lot of pounding beat type music. I have heard people talk about, could it be that they're playing music to drown out the wall yellers, so that the house guests can't hear them in the backyard, and they're making it sound like it's just some kind of punishment for being at the festival and hearing the music from a long way away or something, and that's going on. And I think that is that's probably I'm guessing what is going on. They're just playing music. Now here's the thing, Big Brother, the reason they don't let us sing or hum or whistle in the house, anytime you sing or hum or whistle a song, or you repeat movie lines, anything like that, Big Brother potentially has to pay royalties to whoever owns those copyrights. So they wouldn't be showing the backyard if there's a lot of music playing, because then they'd have to pay the copyright. They should have brought Indy back in her costume and given her a little extra, a little extra spending money just to play her punk music with that drum set up on the patio for the next 7 days. You talking about torture? That could have done it right there, right? All right, Becca Poe saying, I'm frustrated with the wall yellers ruining feeds for everyone. The outside feeds would have been so good this week. They would have been so much better than the inside, right? It would have been the whole question of, is Joseph going to turn around and is he going to spill the beans to Terrence? Is he going to flip it on Kyle? Are he and Turner going to call out Kyle and force Terrence to make decisions? Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that could have been taking place. And I agree, the wall yellers, they do kind of ruin it. I don't like wall yellers. We had one during my season I've talked about before. I didn't like it then, even though I found out later they were trying to help me. It doesn't matter. I still don't like wall yellers. I feel like I can be more objective or absolute in my opinion, because I actually had a wall yeller trying to help me out, and I still don't like them. All right, so there you go. Yeah, they're trying to manipulate the game. I get it. You're trying to save someone that you like. You're trying to go after someone that you don't like. Leave the game alone. It's just a TV show, game show. You don't need to be trying to influence or anything else. But Big Brother fans are more passionate than the other fans out there. I understand, but yeah, I don't like it. Now, I got a solution, and I've mentioned this before. I think I mentioned it last season when we had issues with wall yellers. I feel like I've got a solution for it, and I wish CBS would listen, or Big Brother. What if they put all the house guests out there, aware that maybe they were going to have some wall yellers trying to influence the game? So they just told the house guests, said, look, at any festival, you're going to have people yelling at the stage, all kinds of yells and everything else. And it may be right in the middle of the night. We don't know when, but just be aware there's all kinds of things that are going to be yelled up on stage. 95% of them probably aren't even true. 5%, maybe they could be true. And then you spend the next 7 days, every 30, 45 minutes, someone is yelling something over the wall to these house guests. Sometimes they're using megaphones, bullhorns. Sometimes they're just shouting. Sometimes there's sirens. I don't know, just all different ways of yelling, throwing messages over, and just make up a bunch of stuff. Terrence knows Jessica Milagros and plotted with her or something. I don't care what it is. Just throw out a lot of crazy rumors, so that then if you do have a wall yeller show up and start yelling something over the wall, the people inside the house or in the backyard, they don't know what's real. They don't know what's not real. They don't know what comes from the producers, what really may be just some rogue person out there. So yeah, just make up stuff. Taylor and Daniel were working together from the very start. Their fighting was nothing but a big play to get your sympathy. Anything. Just enough that then no one has any clue what's going on. I've always thought that would work to obscure the real stuff going on at the wall yell or something. Just my thought. All right, Chaz is saying, do you think Michael is making a mistake by not sending out Monty out over Jasmine? The split house twist could have sent Joseph and Monty out the same night. I know. Wouldn't that be a shocker? I don't know. I get it from Kyle's standpoint. I even get it from Terrence is in trouble. I think Terrence is going to have a huge target on his back when he comes back in the house. But Joseph, I kind of see why they're getting him out the door. Kyle's trying to protect his showmance. He's, I don't know. I felt like Kyle was in a decent position because he was part of the pound, but he also was, kind of with Brittany and Michael and all of that. But the showman's kind of screwed things up for him. But I kind of see why he's going after Joseph because he's protecting that showmance. From the other side, yeah, it would have been a good time to make a big move on Monty. And here's the thing. I don't think it's any deep, dark secret that Monty was throwing a lot of those competitions at the first of the season. He's a personal trainer. Not only is he a personal trainer and should be fantastic at the physical competitions, but he's also just a very charismatic person. I said during my preseason cast assessment, he had an incredible smile. He just seemed like such a nice, friendly guy. He's such a charismatic person from a social game standpoint. Everyone likes Monty. And because of that, I think he's dangerous from that standpoint as well. So, yeah, I think it would have been a perfect opportunity to take Monty out. But I have heard over the last few days the reasons that Michael doesn't want to do it. One, because of this whole twist. So he doesn't know what's happening on the other half on the outside. And his fear that if the outside just sent out Terrence or sent out Alyssa and protected the alliance, then they come in and they see that Michael took the first shot within the alliance. Suddenly Michael has a huge target on his back that everyone's going to be going for him first. They've got it. They now have a reason to go after someone who's been winning a lot of vetoes and HOHs. He can't compete for HOH next week because he's current HOH. So he's very vulnerable as a result of that. And he's even gotten to the point, being the fan that he is, he's recognized that we aren't to the point where everyone gets to compete in veto yet, which happens once you get to the final six. So he knows that theoretically someone else could get HOH and backdoor Michael. He wouldn't even get the chance to play in a veto competition. So I think I understand his reasoning. Yes, it would be fantastic to make a big move, but at the same time, you put a huge target on your back. He already has a huge target. I think you put an even bigger target on your back. I kind of understand why he's not doing it. I think he's doing something else that is brilliant, and I think it may even work better. Just the conversations it seems like he's having, he's really trying to set this up as a kind of a Monty, Joseph, throw Turner in there perhaps as well. Monty and Joseph and Turner on one side and Kyle and Alyssa on the other side. He's trying to put these two people against each other and making sure that they're going to have they're going to be targeting each other within the leftovers and just kind of leaving Michael and Brittany alone. Just the way he talks and everything else. He's spent a lot of time talking about throwing kind of Kyle and Alyssa under the bus. If Alyssa's still there when they come back together, I think he's just wanting to make sure they start aiming for each other and leave him alone. And I don't think that's a bad idea. But yeah, it would have been an incredible Thursday night for these two groups to get back together and see Monty and Joseph both out the door. That would have been something else, right? But yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. All right, Rich Fleming. Do you think Michael used game theory in the pick, making his first pick dictate Terrence's first pick? Yeah, I think he's smart enough to have done that. I know when I went in, we had a week or so of sequester before we went in the house, and my son had gotten me a book on game theory, and I'd listened. There's a Harvard professor on YouTube that has an amazing long series about game theory. He talks about the Spanish prisoner or the dilemma and things like that. A lot of game theory discussions. Yeah, I mean, you got to think Michael, being the super fan that he is and being an attorney as well, so very logical and all that. Yeah, I'm sure he was thinking about what is Terrence going to do if I do this and working his way all the way through. I got a lot of faith and trust in Michael and the way he thinks the game out. I like to think of myself as a very logical person in the way I analyze stuff, being the engineer that I am. And I think he does it the same way. So a lot of respect for Michael and the way he's played this game so far. I think he's doing pretty good. I'll put it this way. If Joseph goes out the door on Thursday, Michael becomes my new top person in terms of how I think he's playing the game. I think Michael was a little slow on the social game in the beginning, a little awkward. Took a little while to get warmed up to people and all that. But I feel like he's doing better than that. And people have kind of, I don't know, embraced his quirkiness to some degree, which I just think he's doing really well right now. So, yeah, I absolutely think he used a little game theory in the way he did that. All right. TJ85. House guests shouldn't have had time to chat before choosing groups. I agree. And we didn't necessarily get to see all of that, right? But I've heard little rumors that there were some discussions. I can't remember. Someone told, maybe Joseph told Terrence, or Michael told Terrence to pick Joseph. I don't remember. I don't know what it was, but it does sound like there was a little bit of conversation that took place. I agree. I would have absolutely said, all right, we're doing this. Y'all are splitting up. Y'all are 10 feet of this big old backyard. They probably could have done something to make it just a little bit more, make sure there was no communication between all of them, but whatever. They didn't, and I don't know how much that affected the results or not, but it doesn't take much more than just the tiniest little hint to get a feel for what the other side may be doing once you know who's HOH and everything, right? So, yeah, I wish there'd been no communication, but it is what it is. All right, Friend Shaver Kano. I think Joseph will be out this week. A good shakeup. Sad to see him go, but it's Big Brother. Absolutely. There are people who deserve to win the game that go home early all the time because of these twists. On this show, on Survivor, it just happens sometimes. And that's why this idea that you have to be adaptable, you have to be ready to pivot on a dime when things like this happen. And maybe Joseph didn't do that. Maybe when this split up occurred, Joseph was a little too comfortable about his position within the leftovers and everything. And Kyle immediately went into some damage control of coming up with this new idea and everything else. Joseph could have done it. Joseph could have been the first one to go to Terrence and say, just so you know, Kyle's been telling everyone he formed this thing and we followed along because it was safe, but it's all Kyle's baby, and we took you on board. And Joseph could have done some things as well to counteract this, but Kyle was just a little bit quicker on the draw. So, but yeah, that's the game of Big Brother. All right, Kelly Snell now. Do you think when Michael sees that Joseph is voted out, he'll wish he had targeted Monty? That is a very good question. He's going to be a lot less. He's gonna be sitting there thinking, well, geez, no one would have been upset with me if they went after Joseph at the same time. Talking about throwing that whole house in disarray if both sides did something like that. I don't know. That's a good question. I think I still think at that point in time, Michael may use that as more leverage, saying, see, Monty, Kyle and Alyssa, they've gone rogue. They've abandoned us and all of that. We got to do whatever we can to get Kyle and Alyssa out. And he'll be whispering to Kyle and Alyssa saying, if I'd known y'all were going to do it, I would have done it, but I didn't. And I'm on y'all's side. And I still think it probably helps him in terms of making sure everyone's shooting at someone else other than him and Brittany. But yeah, when he sees the other side made the big move, it's gotta make him think that maybe he should have as well. What would have happened if Monty and Joseph are both gone? First of all, Taylor feels very abandoned, right? I mean, what would she do? I think she would immediately latch on to Brittany and get that much closer with her and Michael immediately. I think, even though they would be responsible for sending Monty up, I think Taylor would latch on with the two of them. So now suddenly you've got Michael and Brittany and Taylor, and then you've got Kyle and Alyssa and Terrence on the other side, and maybe that's how it kind of works out. And then which way does Turner go? I don't know. Turner would be a huge swing vote if something like that happened. Turner may still be a huge swing vote, which I like to see. I want to see what Turner's going to do. I want to see another HOH from Turner, see which direction he goes now that things have become a little more established. All right, Jelly Crossing. Hey, Jelly. I want the inside people to evict the outside noms and the outside people to evict the inside noms. I was talking about that earlier. Absolutely. We're thinking alike, friend. I was trying to think how you could change the twist up to make it better because we're all bored at this point in time, right? Even if the feeds are right, here's my fear. What if they're not showing the outside feeds? Not because we've got wall yellers and they're all worried about this and that. What if it's just every bit as boring outside as it is inside? What if Kyle and Alyssa just ripped off their clothes and they're just off partying together the whole time? They can't show it on the cameras because of that. And Terrence and Turner and Joseph are just over in the corner trying to do something else. It's what if it's just incredibly boring outside, which it very well could be. So maybe this twist is cool that they had to make these decisions separate from one another, but is maybe a week too long? Maybe you could have just compressed it into 2 or 3 days instead, which I think would have been fine. But yeah, the second part of that Jelly Crossing, I agree. Let the nominations take place. Let the veto ceremony take place. Come, whether it's Thursday night or a special Tuesday night episode, however you want to do it. Say, all right, it's time for evictions. Let's get ready, house guests. But oh no, insiders, y'all aren't voting between Jasmine and Monty. No, we never said that. You're going to be voting for who the outsiders picked. And are you ready to vote? Okay, it's Turner and Joseph. All right, now it's your turn, Jasmine. Now it's your turn, Monty. Go up there and vote. Don't even give them a chance to talk to each other. Just immediately throw those two people on the block and say, all right, go in there and vote. No coordination, no collaboration. Go with your gut. Who do you want out? Force the 5 inside. Force the people on the block as well. So suddenly now, instead of only having 2 people vote on the inside, 2 people vote on the outside, let all 5 that are inside vote to send out one of the people on the outside and vice versa. Tell the outsiders, now you're not voting on Turner or Joseph. You're voting at Jasmine or Monty, and let those 5 do the same thing. It would have made it so much more interesting and exciting to see who turns on who and who makes a decision that maybe rubs against the other people if they'd had a chance to talk it out. There's no more voting with the house because you may not know how the rest of the house is voting. Jelly Crossing, gold star tonight. That's one of the things I want to talk about. I think it would have been so much greater to have that. Why doesn't CBS listen to this show a little bit more? We can help them with all kinds of issues and everything else. So I think it's a fantastic idea. All right, Lori Jean. I think they should have assigned teams based on the order in which they lost the competition. Why not? Yeah, I think that's perfect. Yeah, it's let the people who did the worst on the thing go, but you still have them split. The worst players on one side, the second worst players on the other side. You work your way up. I got no problem with that. I think that would have been better than letting the HOH pick all 4 team members. Rose Griffin saying Kyle will be the leftovers target when they find out what he did. Yeah, I think so. I think so, unless Kyle can figure out how to quickly start pointing a whole lot more fingers. He's got to, at this point, it's got to be a Hail Mary. He's got to get in there and say, all right, I got Alyssa. Hopefully I got Terrence. Maybe I've got Turner once Joseph's gone. Is Turner going to just get tighter with Monty, or is Turner going to see writing on the wall, say, man, I'm just going to abandon Monty. Let's get him out next, and I'll stick with all the others. I could see him doing that. God, Turner's such a loyal guy, though. He may be really feel a little betrayed that Kyle even did that. So I don't know. But yeah, Lori Messon, do you think Turner will go back to being a leftover? Yeah, I think the leftovers are done. I don't think there's any such thing as the leftovers are expired. Throw them out. Well, don't throw them out. You know what I mean? I think the leftovers are done. I think once they get back in the house, you've got divisions that are not going to heal at this point because Michael doesn't want them to heal. He wants people going after each other. Kyle doesn't want divisions to heal because if so, that means they're all going to go after Kyle. So there's just too many people that are pushing to not have the leftovers at this point in time. There's going to be people fighting. Well, Alyssa's going to be with Kyle. You would think, right? Although I think Alyssa, call it showmance, call it whatever you want. At the end of the day, I think Alyssa's going to do whatever benefits Alyssa's game, and more power to her for doing it. But I would expect Alyssa and Kyle to be together. But what happens to Terrence? Terrence, as much as he could be a target, he also could be that vote that everyone's going to be fighting for. Everyone's going to be making all kinds of promises to the older guy to get him on board with their side. So, yeah, now I think leftovers are done. Turner, my big question is Turner going to go with the side of the house that has the majority, in his opinion, or is he going to go with the side that he feels like maybe was more loyal to the idea of the final seven? And I don't know if Monty's the only one that's left that's kind of still super loyal. If everyone's throwing Kyle under the bus, if Turner gets a feel that maybe Michael and Brittany were, I don't know. Maybe Turner could join with Taylor and Michael and Brittany, and those four maybe could end up as a group against Kyle and Alyssa and Terrence. Hey, it's gonna be a great Thursday. As boring as it is right now, come Thursday when these groups get back together, talk about some amazing feats when they start comparing notes back and forth. And Kyle's already said he's going to try to pin this all on Joseph, since Joseph's going to be out the door. So, Joseph already said I was just having to protect my back because of it. The other side has already said as well, we're going to have to really ask a lot of questions to find out who's telling the truth about what happened out there, who maybe is trying to spin some things that benefit them. Monty had already said that he had thought about lying to the other side, saying, yeah, I was going to tell him that I won the power of veto, pulled myself off, and that's why Jasmine went home. Everyone's thinking about what they can do to tweak the truth a little bit to help them when these groups come back together. So Thursday's going to be fun. Sarah Margaret, did you hear Brittany say that she and Michael are the new Cliff and Nicole? I've heard her say that before, and I welcome the comparison. I hope they make it to the very end. I know Brittany has said before that Nicole is her absolute favorite player of all time. I haven't heard Michael say that about me, but that's fine because I still like Michael and the game he's playing. But yeah, I get it because they're not a showmance, right? They're just people that absolutely trust each other implicitly in the game, and so that's what Nicole and I did, and it just somehow kind of worked for most of the game. Wish it worked just a little bit longer, but yeah, I welcome the comparison. I think they're both fun people. I look forward to meeting them after we get out of the house, or after they get out of the house. Mark Taylor, what do you think about getting Michael out next week before he gets close to the Final Four? You got to go after him pretty quick. I mean, he's a strategic threat because he knows the game. I think someone said he was not professional, but like a figure skater, speed skater, maybe figure skater earlier in his life. He's athletic. He as tall as he is, tall and lanky sometimes doesn't translate to amazing athleticism. But Michael kind of has a whole package. I think his social game is improved. His strategic game is phenomenal. Athletically, he's proven it. He can hold his own with anyone. So, yeah, I think who was it that was talking about? Oh, Michael himself was talking to the cameras last night, and he was saying, "Look, I want to take Brittany to the final two. Absolutely. Well, of course he does because he can beat Brittany. And he's saying that he also would like to take Taylor probably as a final three. That his only concern is that he thinks Taylor would take Brittany over himself if she had the choice. But then he comes back and says, but I expect no one's going to want to take me to final two. Everyone is going to pick the other person in that final three to go to final two before me. And I think he's right. No one wants to go to jury again. No one wants to pitch before the jury against Michael because he's got such a huge resume right now in his game, and they know he's a fan and all that. So, yeah, I think, and that's why I think it's so phenomenal that Michael seems to be trying to position everyone else to go against each other while he can still really sit back and not worry about it. As powerful as he is, he probably should have been targeted way before now. And if they let him because eventually, just a few more weeks, he'll be competing in every single veto. There will be no more backdoors from Final Six onwards. He'll have a chance to win every single one of those. He's going to do great on BB Comics, right? We've got a slip and slide HOH probably that's coming up. He may do fantastic with that. He's got balance. He's got a long stride. He could win a whole lot more comps before we get done. So, yeah, they better take their shot while they can. But they may be so focused on each other, they may just leave him alone for a little while, which is what he wants. All right, Hippie Chick. Hey, Hippie Chick. Do you think Kyle still has a chance of winning? Yes, but it's gonna be a tough one. I'm trying to think of the path for Kyle. There's gonna be a lot of people in that jury house that may hold him responsible for the premature breakup of the leftovers, and that's certainly not going to help him when he's pitching to the jury. But if I'm Kyle at this point, I'm going all in. You've already broken up the leftovers. Do everything you can to blow it up, to pull in Terrence, Alyssa, Turner, and create a new alliance. And if he was to make it to the final two, that's a huge resume builder for him to say, look, guys, I was part of the original Pound. I was the one that kind of brought in, Brittany and Michael and Taylor and created the leftovers. Once I saw that my name was getting thrown out, I abandoned y'all guys. I hated to do it, but it had to be done, and created a whole new alliance. And, I can see how he can argue why he maybe deserves to win the whole thing based on what's happened so far. I just think there's going to be enough people perhaps irritated enough with him that it's going to be hard. And the showman's isn't going to help any. I mean, have fun while you're in the house and all that, but you got to be focused on the game. And I'm not sure that dragging Alyssa to the very end is necessarily in Kyle's best self-interest, right? Maybe. We'll find out. I mean, I think he'd win against her at the final two, but beyond that, I think she hasn't shown that she's going to win enough competitions to really help him the way I think he needs to be helped in order to make it to the end. So, I think it's a very iffy proposition, but it depends on what happens in the next 4, 5, 6 weeks. All right, TJ85. Monty, Joseph, and Taylor are too loyal. I can buy that. I respect that, but not the best strategy for the Big Brother house. They have to get Michael out now. I agree. And coming from someone who may have also been a little too loyal at times, but I agree with you. They got so focused on the final 7, and I know why they did. They're sitting there thinking, as long as we can make the final 7, as long as we make leftovers the final 7, well, then once we get there, we've got Monty and Joseph and Turner and Kyle. We've got 4 out of the 7. So then we get rid of Brittany and Michael and maybe Taylor. They could see their path to getting to final 4, maybe final 5 with Taylor without a whole lot of change in their strategy or gameplay or anything else. They felt like they were the core within an alliance that would just keep trimming down until it's finally them. All fair and good. I understand it completely, but that's where I think they weren't as adaptable as Kyle was. They should have been thinking a little bit more that if we recognize that we're in this core group, other people are going to recognize that they are not in the core group. And while there's still a couple of non-leftover people left to influence the votes or to control the votes, they're going to be grabbing those people and trying to upset the apple cart. And I just don't think they counted on that the way they should have. And so you're right. I think their focus on loyalty keeps them from seeing maybe the bigger picture or seeing the picture from other people's eyes. And they just haven't shown that they're adaptable enough, and they may pay the price for it. We'll find out. All right. Train driver Carl is a set on a closed lot. We'll talk about that. And then Beth Garb, how are the wall yellers getting inside the studio? All right, here's the way it works. It's no big secret that the Big Brother house is inside one of the studios inside the Burbank CBS lot, right? Now, the issue is that it's on the very edge of the studio lot. If you've never done it before, go out to Google Maps, and I think you can do a search for Big Brother house, and it'll probably pull up. It may pull up the UK version, but if you do a little searching, you can find the US version. You can see a satellite photo of exactly what it looks like. So I'm not giving away any secrets here. But the problem is that the backyard and the whole Big Brother house is on the very edge of the CBS lot. Now, on the other edge, just off the property, is, I guess they call it the LA River. It looks like a cement drainage ditch to me. But I think they call it a river. But it's just a cement culvert for runoff and rainwater and things like that. And I think that is either owned by the city of LA or it's private property or something. You're not supposed to be there. And I happen to know that CBS actually has security guards and PAs and all kinds of people that watch that little culvert to make sure there's not people where they shouldn't be. But the issue is just on the other side of that culvert, you then have private property. There's a road right there. There's some apartments or some condos. There's just private property, and it makes it hard to control who's coming in and out of those properties on that road and all of that. And I think the wall yellers, it's not just someone with a really loud voice, although I think my voice is loud enough. I proved in the house. I maybe could yell and be heard across the backyard. But now I think for the most part, it's people that quickly drive up with a huge bullhorn or a big old DJ stereo system in the back of a truck or something like that, and quickly try to play something and just count on incredible decibel levels to get it across that little culvert and over the wall into the Big Brother house. So that's how it works, and that's the issue, is that CBS can't force people not to be on that private property, and so they're a little bit limited in far as how much they can control it. Theoretically, they could move that house to the very center of the CBS lot, and you wouldn't have to deal with it at all, because no one gets on that lot that isn't supposed to be there. But the problem is now you're talking about a lot of money to move that house, and I just don't think they're prepared to do that at all. The other thing you could do, you could enclose the backyard. Look at Big Brother Canada. They've got a tiny little backyard that's exposed to the elements where their hot tub is, but for the most part, their backyard type feature is enclosed, and you theoretically could do that with the Big Brother house here in the U.S. as well. But again, you're talking about money. Space, I think, is tight on that lot, and it would be a little bit harder to create one and still have people being able to go to the backyard and the house and all that. So logistically, maybe it's a little bit of an issue. So yeah, that's why it's hard to control, because they're on the side of the property. I guess back when they first started doing this, they didn't think it was going to be such a big deal that they would have to worry as much as they do about it. All right, Molly Lollipops saying Michael is not going to do anything to jeopardize his game, especially at this point. He'd rather play safe. I agree, and I'm not sure that's a bad gameplay. There's a time to take chances, and there's a time where you just play it safe. You let other people take the chances, other people fight the battles. It's not as though when Michael gets to the very end of the game that someone's going to say, you don't have enough of a resume to actually win. With what he's done already, he's going to be able to argue that he deserves the victory just based on what he's done. So does he need to be the person responsible for making yet another big move or making a big move? Yeah, probably not. Let someone else do it. Let someone else get the blood on their hands and all of that. He had to win HOH this week. When there's only 5 people, 40% of a group is going to go on the block, and knowing that he was a big target, he had to win HOH. But it doesn't mean he has to make a big move. Especially, it would be different if Jasmine wasn't part of that group. If they had 5 leftovers in there, or even if they had 3 leftovers and 2 non-leftovers, yeah, different scenarios. Maybe you could argue there's a little bit more merit to going after a big target like Monty. But when it's so obvious and clear that you can get out Jasmine, protect your alliance, no one's going to be upset that you sent Jasmine. No one is going to be upset that he ended up sending Jasmine out the door, right? So it's easy to sit back and not do anything at this point in time. So I don't have a problem with it. I think it's probably the right move. All right, Shane Lee. Kyle played Joseph this week. Not a fan of Kyle, but it's the game. That's the thing. I've seen a lot of people on social media that are incredibly upset with Kyle because he's basically jeopardizing Joseph's game. Joseph was tight with Taylor, and therefore what Kyle does to Joseph also affects Taylor. And there's just a lot of people that, and of course, Kyle had some controversy, and we don't need to go into it here about who he wanted to play against and with, and why, and y'all know all that stuff. But there's a lot of people that are upset with Kyle for a lot of different reasons, and I get every bit of it. And I'm not saying that those aren't real reasons to have feelings about him as a player and all that. But at the end of the day, I always try to keep the emotional and the strategic apart from each other. And from a purely strategic gameplay, put 10 robots in the house or 10 just anonymous people. And I still get why he did what he did. I understand why he did just based on what he knows is going on in the backyard. But then we as viewers get to pull back and see that Michael and Brittany and Monty and everyone inside the house is already really pointing at Kyle as their target going forward. I don't know how many times I've heard people inside the house say, if Alyssa comes back into this house with Kyle, then we've got a major issue. That shows that Kyle is more concerned about his showmance than he is about the alliance. So regardless of who goes home, whether it's it can't be Terrence because he's HOH. So basically they're saying if an alliance member goes home instead of Alyssa, then we know we've got an issue with Kyle. So knowing that, it just further confirms that Kyle's making the right decision. Whether you like him or not, I think he's making the right decision. So we'll see. Short term, I absolutely agree. Long term, we'll find out if it turns out to have been the right decision or not. Colleen Mullen saying they didn't realize that Kyle talked to Terrence, so Duels, they should have known something happened. Yeah, I agree with that. So clueless. How do they not know? If I'm Joseph, I'm looking at Terrence and thinking, why did he suddenly not put up either side of that showmance? Now, supposedly he made a promise to Alyssa that he would not put her up. I never saw that conversation, but they've talked about enough. I assume it actually did happen. But even with that, if I'm Joseph, I'm saying, fine, don't put Alyssa up, but why wouldn't you put Kyle up? Why would you put me and Turner up? Me especially, I'd be saying, Monty, why? We were bestie festies together. Why would you expose me at this point in time? Unless there's something that you know, or even that you've just been told that makes you want to put me up. So yeah, I'm kind of surprised that there hasn't been more talk. And Joseph kind of dug his own grave a little bit more, because after Terrence found out, he asked Joseph a few questions, about, hey, how close are you and Monty and things like that. And Joseph didn't fess up because he didn't know that Terrence knew everything. And so he just dug his hole a little bit more. And that's the thing, if Joseph knew that Kyle had already spilled the beans on everything, well, then he could spin his own version and say, no, it was Kyle who was behind it. We just joined because we felt we had to. And it was Kyle's idea to have you join us as bestie festies. Joseph could at least present his own arguments, but because he doesn't realize that Terrence knows all of this, he doesn't have that opportunity. I've wondered from Terrence's standpoint, what would happen if Terrence, now that he knows everything that Kyle told him, if Terrence just kind of whispered to Joseph, said, hey, Kyle told me all about the leftovers. That's all he has to say. You don't have to go into detail. Just say, Kyle told me all about the leftovers. And let Joseph and Kyle go at it with each other. Let them be pointing the fingers, yelling back and forth. Who knows what kind of secrets come out at that point in time that Alyssa and Terrence maybe are going to hear about, that they're going to be able to carry back over to the other group and say, yeah, I also know this, and this. I know that you, and who knows? Terrence could really get people pointing fingers at each other a whole lot more than he has so far, just by letting Joseph know that he knows. But maybe he did. Maybe he already did it. Maybe there's some body outlines in the backyard already after Joseph found out about that and Turner, and it's like a scene out of West Side Story, right, or something. I don't know. I don't think that happened, but we don't know what happened in the backyard. All right, Mom. So excited they brought the audience back. Yeah, me too. There's something special about hearing, not just when you open the door and you see the crowd, and I've talked about how exciting that is, but knowing the crowd's there, you can hear the little murmur when the live episode starts. You can hear the occasional clapping and cheering from people when they get loud enough when Julie walks on the stage. And it makes it more exciting for house guests. So, yeah, I'm glad they brought him back. Astro Boy. Monty will respect the move if he is not a sore loser. Yeah, I agree, but that doesn't mean that he's still not going to be going after Kyle as a result of it. And here's the thing. I mean, short term, it may hurt Monty because I think he and Joseph were pretty tight. Long term, Monty may not want to go to a final two with Joseph either, right? There's something to be said. Monty may feel much more comfortable about going to a final two with Taylor as opposed to Joseph. So there may be a small part, not the big part, but there may be a small part of Monty saying, all right, well, someone else did the dirty work, and now someone else has blood on their hands, Kyle. And now I've got an excuse for going after someone within the leftovers, and no one's going to accuse me of betrayals or not having loyalties. It's someone else. I'm just paying them back. So, yeah, I really am curious about this jury, if they're going to be bitter or not. Michael gave a goodbye message. He told Indy all about the leftovers. I'm sure he's going to do the same thing to every other non-leftover as they leave the house. As they each find out about it, are they going to be bitter, or are they going to just say, got played and props to you for making it work? I don't know. I don't know this jury yet enough to know for certain. 7:56. That goes so quick, guys. All right, Shannon Dumont. I think the non-leftovers should be sent out so they don't make it to Final 5 and have a chance at Final 2. I get it, but if you're at the bottom of the leftovers that are going to be left, don't you want to be grabbing those last couple of people? If you're Monty and Taylor, or if you're Monty and Turner, don't you want to be trying to grab hold of Terrence and maybe getting him up against Alyssa and Kyle? I don't know quite how the groups may break out, but I think Alyssa's locked in with Kyle, so wherever Kyle goes, I expect Alyssa to go. But as I said before, I think Terrence could be the wild card that may control whether you go home or not. So, yeah, it's nice to say we'll just get rid of the non-leftovers. But if you feel like you're at the bottom of the pecking order for the leftovers that are left, you may want to grab hold of Terrence and see if you can't make a little bit of a deal here. All right, Becky Puff, flip the house. Well, we're seeing a little bit of the house flipping, right? Which I'm not so opposed to. I mean, I love the leftovers. I'm glad to see the underdogs had their day. But hey, I don't want anyone to feel too comfortable in that house, even if you are leftover. Monty and Joseph were feeling pretty comfortable, right, going into this. So, yeah, flip the house again. Flip flop, back and forth all the way till September 28th or whenever it is. I don't have an issue. As a player, stressful, tough, it's horrible. As a viewer, flip a house away. Let it roll all back and forth. Yeah, I'm all for it. All right, what else do we have? Let's see, 7:50. All right, well, I guess we'll just call it good there. I have so much fun talking about scenarios and everything else, guys. So thank y'all for being a part of it. I hope I answered a lot of questions. I know there's a lot, and I'm sorry for those I wasn't able to get to. If I didn't get to your question, let me throw this out there. If I didn't get to your question, post it. Or either post it or send me a DM on Instagram or Twitter, and I'll try to get to it next week. Because I want to answer as many as I can. And I know it's tough to do in a span of an hour, but yeah, post it or send it to me, and I'll see if I can't get it very first thing next week. Okay. All right. With that being said, guys, y'all have a fantastic Monday. Enjoy the rest of this week. Oh, come on. Thursday can't get here quick enough. It's a little boring in there. I want to see what happens when these two groups get together. It ought to be a lot of fun and chaos and a whole lot of finger pointing every which direction, which is what we want as a viewer, right? All right, but between now and next Monday, I do my morning recaps, guys. So if you haven't subscribed, turn on notifications, please do so, and I'll give you all the updates on whatever does happen. We may get the feeds back outside, and who knows what's going to happen. So I'll give you the update on that. Y'all have a great one. Until next Monday, guys, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Have a fantastic week.